Okay, welcome back to the podcast. This is part 2 of a series we're doing where we're sharing an interview where Brandon and I were interviewed by the one and only Perry Marshall. If you missed the first part, you'll see it in the same feed on our podcast or YouTube channel, and you can go back and check that out. If you have a hard time finding it, we'll put a link to it in the show notes. In that episode, we shared the behind the scenes story of how we ran and bootstrapped a coffee shop in Chicago, which shaped our financial philosophy on cash flow, liquidity, and sustainable business finance. In today's part of the interview, we're going to shift gears and we go deeper into what's broken in the financial industry, why business owners need a totally different approach than W-2 employees, how profit first and banking yourself intersect in some ways that most advisors miss, and why behavioral economics matters more than ever. You're going to hear about our unique blend of personal experience, psychological insight, and how AI tools have reshaped the way we help clients gain clarity, not someday, but right now. This conversation picks up right where the last one left off. We just finished sharing our coffee shop journey and our entry into business ownership and entrepreneurship. And now we are going to start talking about what we do now and why. Let's jump in.
You have a different take on finance. Like, you're not a typical financial planner or anything like that. Can you explain what you don't like about the standard issue financial planning world and what it is that you decided to do instead?
Yeah. How long do we have?
Can I start first a little bit?
Yeah, you can start first.
So Amanda is a certified financial planner. So she learned how to put all your money into Wall Street, kind of, and how that works, right? So that's typically what financial planning, and I'm reading a book of how to fire your financial advisor right now, right? Which is hilarious because I'm like, we do this stuff, but oftentimes what financial planning is to put it out of your pocket into somebody else's, and you're going to get a return, right? Put in Tesla stock, put into all this other stuff. What I love about Profit First and what we do is it's a cash flow problem. How do I make sure we're making the system work for us, not against us? And oftentimes in the financial world, it's about extracting, not helping build from the ground up healthy, profitable businesses. And again, there's a saying that says, "Don't do what the banks tell you to do. Do what the banks do." Well, they're the most profitable business in the world. So how can I help more and more business owners understand how to step into that? And so that's me. And Amanda has a lot of technical jargon that she'll share that keeps us compliant.
No, I'm going to go with adding on to that. I'm a big fan of behavioral economics. It is a field that was really started in the 1980s. The people in economics that won Nobel Prizes for it, though, didn't win that until the 2000s. It's very much an emerging field. I was the first CFP graduates or like test takers that actually had to answer questions about behavioral economics in the 2020s, right? Like, this is a new emerging field that a lot of people don't understand. Well, I studied psychology in college. I've always been fascinated about why people do what they do and how they, have herd mentality or confirmation bias or those kind of things. And so I've actually found a lot of fulfillment and fun bringing more of that behavioral economics, psychology into what we do in lots of fun ways. And I don't think I would have had the confidence to do that had it not been for being back engaged with Planet Perry and all the fun things we've been doing that we're going to be sharing about today.
And what do you dislike about the standard Wall Street approach to finance?
Yeah. The easy way to think about that is that most financial people talk up here and we're at this level. And they want to like one up us, right? Like they want to be up here and keep us down here. So we'll keep paying them to give us advice and tell us what to do. Because if we understood it, we wouldn't need them.
Yeah.
What we love to think about is how we can empower people to make their own decisions, have more clarity, and not even need us as much.
So what exactly do you guys do?
Yeah. we have lots of conversations. We talk to people all day. It's a lot of fun. Although I have to limit because I'm a half introvert. But it's like hearing what people really want, what their goals for the future are, what their concerns are, what stresses them out, and then coming alongside them and charting a path forward to make sure they can reach all of the life's milestones without taking unnecessary risk. So it could be some people want to sell their business. We help them figure out, okay, how do we align the money and make sure everything looks great so you can sell? And then what do you do with that money afterward? Other people want their business to be a generational business, right? They want to pass on to their kids. Okay, what do we need to do to make sure that's set up well? Your business is profitable. You're passing over, micro shares to your kids so they don't get all of it at once, things like that. Preparing the people for the money, not just the money for the people. We dig into all of that. And it's actually, I'm a problem solver. Give me a problem, I will try to solve it. And I love that we get to do various kinds of problems, and because everybody's unique, right? And we get to come alongside their unique problems and goals and make it happen as best we can.
And I would say typically the typical financial professional does hey, give me your dreams and goals. And the answer is, okay, then let's put it into stocks, bonds, mutual funds. And they don't actually listen to the dreams and goals. And you have to wait until you're 60 to pull it out and use it. Whereas I love working with business owners because, man, we're trying to figure out how do we turn $1 into $2 tomorrow, right? How do we do that? And Warren Buffett says the best investment is in yourself. That's a very bigger way of me thinking about it. And oftentimes it's about cash flow. That's why we love profit first. And that's why we love the bank on yourself system that we do. Because if I understand that and I can help the clients figure out how to use the tools, whether it's annuities, life insurance, cash balance plans that help them do more in their own, like, what they love to do, not just, hey, I want to go to work. That's our strength. And that's what I'm going to live and die on. And it's not always about the money. It's about helping people have freedom, which is, again, going back to what we did, the coffee shop days. It's to set captives free, heal the sick, bind the broken, those kind of things. Same idea, except I believe the financial system is to keep us oftentimes in like almost a slavery kind of way. And so with the financial nervous system we created is saying, okay, maybe the financial nervous system is broken. Maybe we need to look internally and say, okay, what is it about us that we want, and break free from the crazy system that we're all a part of. And we all know it. We all know we're part of something crazy.
So when you guys came into Roundtable, I saw that you were at the intersection of two things. You briefly mentioned them, pay yourself first and infinite banking. And you said, we're the only people that do both of those things and put them together. And I said, well, that looks like a star business because there's growth in both of those areas. And if you're the only people that do those two things, it's not a guaranteed slam dunk, but it means nobody else is occupying the space that you occupy. Can you talk more? Can you describe those conversations we had and describe it in a way where people could probably apply that to themselves while they're listening?
Okay, let's say you're a business owner and you decide you want to improve your finances. You often have to go find a CPA who's going to do your bookkeeping. That CPA might try to give you financial advice about your old 401k, but they're not really qualified to do so. So then you go to your local investment firm and they start talking to you about your 401k, but they have no idea how to help you with your business. And then you're like, but I need to do estate planning. So you find an estate planning attorney and you end up with like 5 or 6 different professionals who each know a little bit of your story and have this one puzzle piece or that puzzle piece, but they don't ever know the complete story and they can't give you advice on all the things. Mm-hmm. What we love is that as profit first professionals, we're not CPAs, but we understand cash flow in a business, and someone could upload their profit and loss statement and their balance sheet, and we could have a pretty good degree of certainty how healthy their business is and how it's going to be going forward. And then from there, we can talk about, okay, let's look at your personal wealth side and how that might be distracting from your business, able to feed into your business, maybe be something that's tearing away from the business, right? Overspending on the personal side, that then the business has to feed that, right? All the things. And we can look at that and figure out, okay, how do we build real personal wealth that then if the business needs it, or the business wants it, there's an opportunity, you can actually take that personal wealth to feed back into the business, and then the business can feed back into your personal wealth. And then also, well, where do we need to diversify? Where do we need to maybe do some passive income in investing with real estate, or add other components so you're not dependent solely on the business for your entire financial future? And we can bring those things together, as well as talk about what that means for the next generation and the generation after that. We do a lot of thinking of 3 generations, 30 years, and then also the 5 years, the 1 year, right? The short term, kind of make sure it all fits together. All the puzzle pieces are working for the benefit of the business owner more than anyone else.
And what were you naive about when you went into financial advisory?
Dave Ramsey would be one, or that a lot of the stuff that is out there is literally, again, to extract and not really help. And so,
I want you to be more explicit. Okay, you glossed over. What are people telling people that's just blatantly wrong?
The problem is they're not telling them. They're hiding everything. They have fees that are hidden in your statements that you can never figure out, what am I actually paying for this investment? They promote certain financial products, but they hide the fact that they're being paid by companies to promote those products, right? Like term life insurance. Certain people promote that because there's a company paying them to do that, not because it's actually the right thing for people. There's so much smoke screens and things hidden behind so that they keep this higher than thou, you can never understand this mentality. And that is so frustrating. Why not open the windows, open things up, let people see what's really going on, and make better choices that way?
Well, and we have to look the Wolf on Wall Street and those movies that we say, oh, those guys are evil. But then we then give them money all the time and say, well, it's okay, but it's different. And again, if I'm a business owner, I want to grow with the business. Some of that stuff is okay, but oftentimes the business owners are left with credit card bills that they had a great idea, then they can't do it because of PPP money that they thought was free but isn't free, and all kinds of things that happen, and they don't understand the idea. If you just sell more, it'll be okay. Just have more clients and it'll be okay. So we invest in sales coaches to help us sell more, but then we have a bigger problem because shoot, we spent $50,000 on a program that didn't work, right? And so these things happen, and we don't understand expense challenges using profit first for the expense kind of idea, or the 80-20 rule. Maybe I need to figure out what's the 20% levers that are going to actually swing bigger doors. How do we do that? And we're again taught, well, just put it in Tesla stock because that's better. And profit first is saying, let's make sure you profit first, not just waiting until the end and then we'll have a payday. The whole system is jacked up, I think. We all know it. I mean, everywhere we know it.
Okay, so this is what I didn't know at first about the financial system. Mm-hmm. What did you not know at first about promoting and selling your services to butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers?
Oh man, I think part of it is that they're so in the system, they're so in the swamp that they can't even think and see that they have a problem, right? I think that's the hardest part. And what I've learned more and more, and even with this AI stuff, I'm like, holy crap. I was almost going to swear, but I'm not. Like we know this way better than everybody else. And I know that I know this, and I know that we know how to manage cash flow. And shoot, we're also licensed, so we know which tools to actually use when it's the right time, not to extract for extraction's sake, but to put them in the right place to make sure that they don't have a huge tax bill. Because the whole, even thinking about taxes, the tax code is bigger than the Bible. There's a reason that's done that way. And so think about it, even this whole idea, we pay people, a whole industry, we pay people to figure out how to not pay people. Right? Isn't that ridiculous?
Yep.
And
That's
so we
how
have
it
a
works.
whole system that's around that. And I'm like, okay, but you need to know how the rules are made to be able to step into that. Now, I'm not saying we're experts in everything, but we do understand AI. We can use that now to do a lot of amazing things.
Well, what were some early mistakes that you made and the consequences of those mistakes with you not really knowing how to convince people that they had a problem and not knowing how to market and not knowing how to sell?
Really, like we took anybody and everyone. And I think for many years, we were scared to niche at all. Partly, we do such niche products, right? With Bank on Yourself or Infinite Banking and Profit First, like those are such niche areas that need to be explored more, that we were afraid to then niche in terms of who we serve or what kind of qualifications they would have. And I would say that we still have lots of head trash around to that and what that looks like. And that's one of the things we've been working on a lot this year.
You guys tried a lot of different approaches over the last couple of years with a podcast and some different things. And it seems to me that when you came on board last May and we started working together, you started making a lot of changes to how you approach things. Can you give us a sense of before and after, and what some of the, like how you were thinking a year ago versus how you think now?
So this kind of started in May, but it really started about this time last November when we started Perry Marshall Academy and John McGee working with me to learn more of the concepts and reading the STAR principle and simplify and getting into, the power promise, all of those great things that you learned as part of PMA and Perry Marshall Academy. And then in April, then went to Equity 2.0. And there was at some point in like February, or I was like, I'm not going. And then something happened where I was like, I have to go. I maybe kind of memo from the head office kind of part there. And when Bob Regnerus was talking and doing his session at Equity 2.0, I knew that's exactly why I needed to be there. And he described this, you've been walking around in circles. But what you don't realize is that you're actually climbing a mountain. You're not just going on the same place. You're actually going up the mountain and you are making progress. And that was really affirming. I felt that in my core, like, yes, we have been making progress, even though it feels like we're going around in circles. And then he said, and there's a line that you keep coming up against and you're afraid to jump over. This is your time to cross that line and to go into your 2.0 version, right? Go from Amanda 2.0 to Amanda 2.0. And I decided in that moment that I was going to do that. I'm actually like getting excited about it as I'm talking about it. I was crying during that session. It was like, okay, we're ready to be our true selves and to not hold anything back and to move forward. And then we had that whiteboard session in May, and it was.
Go ahead, jump in.
Yep.
So at that time, I was watching via, I don't know, online because, we have a kid who's 7, right? And so I'm listening to, I think Shayna or Shauna or something like that. And this confidence thing also was like, who are we to talk about finance? We only owned a coffee shop. Like, seriously, we don't know that much. But she mentions Bank on Yourself in her presentation, which is what we do. And so I messaged the CEO of Bank on Yourself and said, hey, do you know who this is? And he's like, no, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I don't. Which was kind of like, oh, confirming, because I'm like, wait, Amanda's there. She does that. They're saying that everybody needs to talk to somebody about that and understand that concept. That's what we do. So that helped us step into even saying, okay, no, we are legit in what we do. Even though people are like life insurance or infinite banking or Dave Ramsey this or that, that really brought confidence. And then going into Roundtable, I think the AI stuff, that helped us lead even more, because the AI, as we've done our genius flip and stuff like that, it's saying, yeah, you're really good at profit first. You're really good at banking yourself. Your real genius is you. And the Five Smooth Stones, which is our other book, the book we created, and said, that's your strength. You need to step into that. And so we're like, okay, that's kind of weird. But that's part of us. And Amanda's really quiet and humble, and, doesn't share that much, but she's a rock star at this stuff. So anyway.
Thanks, Brandon. So we like even doing the moat mapper, and there's like 4 quadrants. I think trust has always been like the quadrant I lead with. You can't sell anything to anybody if they don't trust you. And particularly trust is one of those big hurdles you have to get over in the financial sector, right? And if people don't trust us, they're never going to have us like listen to us about anything to do with money. But the big aha moment was the magnetism side. I just be myself, right? I don't worry about, am I magnetic or not magnetic? But there's parts of me that are probably more magnetic than other parts. And what if I shined a spotlight on those? And what would that look like? And how would I share that when I don't want to overshare? we're a little bit of like educators, right? That's actually like my sales DNA is about educating. When I do my marketing DNA, I love words, right? I will overshare. And we kind of came to Roundtable with all of that, knowing if we want to be more magnetic in 2025, you get 15-second video. You get, 3 seconds to make a good impression at a conference, right? Like those kind of things. What would it look like to have that magnetism lead rather than the trust lead, if that makes sense?
Well, one thing I've seen a lot, and it's even more obvious lately, is that people come along and they think, okay, I need to learn the big technique, or I need to learn the big secret. And what ends up happening very often, and we just had an AMN call 2 hours ago, and we were talking about this. A lot of times what makes businesses really spark is the innate genius and personality of the person who's running it. And it's things that are really easy for them to take for granted because it's so natural to them. Many times what happens when we work with people is I say, I observe that you are describing yourself this way, but when I look at what you're really doing that. And that's very unique. And if you double down on that, nobody can compete with you, or even if they can, they're a year or 2 years behind and they can never catch up. And many times I also notice that whatever they're doing, it started with they were tinkering around with something or playing or goofing off or just scribbling or doing whatever they do, or doing their hobby, or doing their own weird twist on their industry. Guess what? That's a business. And it seems like we've been drawing that out of you. Like there's this alleged way that you're supposed to do marketing, or this alleged way that you're supposed to do financial planning. we have you take marketing DNA. We have you figure out who are you and what's your unique take on the world.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's find an even better way to explain that and express it so people can get it more quickly. So can you tell me how you've been doing that and what's been happening?
So this is where we're going to pause today. In our next episode, I'm going to fill you in on how we've been doing, the things that we've learned over the past year and what's been happening. I share later in the interview. You're not going to get to hear this part unless you go and watch the full replay. We'll try to put the link to Perry's version of that in the show notes. If we can find it, if that replay is available for you. But the thing I share later is that I'm a kind of a turtle. I move really slowly, and we've been moving faster than ever the last year, thanks to really engaging with Perry Marshall Academy, Perry Marshall Lives, the Equity 2.0 Summit that he did, and then joining the roundtable experience that he has, and becoming involved in some of the AI tools and AI work that they're doing as well. And so next episode, we're going to kind of catch you up on what is happening going forward. But if you don't want to wait until the next episode, you can catch up at livecounterflow.com. There you'll find information about our Find Your Flow quiz, the financial nervous system diagnostic, another thing called the Cash Confidence Roadmap, the Counterflow community, and the Profit Planning Network, which I'd be remiss not to let you know the Profit Planning Network is currently open for enrollment. It's going to not be open forever. We're going to start a new cohort for 2026, and we'd love to see you in that if you're a business owner who is looking for more confidence in the new year and you want to, stop throwing spaghetti at the walls and actually move forward with confidence and certainty that you're going to be able to reach all of life's milestones without taking unnecessary risk, and no matter what happens to your business. Profit Planning Network is all about increasing your profits and using those profits to build personal wealth. But as we've shared in a couple episodes ago, when we interviewed one of the current members of Profit Planning Network, it goes well beyond that and is much more comprehensive and holistic in what we do. So again, all that information is at livecounterflow.com. We're also going to put some information in the show notes about where you can watch the full interview, and if you want more information about the Perry Marshall Roundtable, where you can find that. Okay, hit that subscribe button. Don't miss it next time, where we'll catch you up, share some more information about what we really found is our zone of genius or unique ability or whatever you want to call it that really creates our business as a star business, and what that even means and all of that. So until next time, keep building your profits, finding your confidence, trusting that your future is bigger than your past, and may you live long and profit.